Hey, in this video, I want to talk about the quick fix for your grant writing woes, whether you're going for NSF, NIH, or other types of grant funding for your research. What is the quick fix for that? Let me give you a little bit of background before I dive into that. So the background is that I have been helping people in the research space for years, trying to improve their grant funding situation to support their research. And I have encountered a lot of people who come to me, they've had rejections, they've tried some things, and they're in a position where they're sort of desperate for funding. They need it for promotion, they need it to keep their research going, they need it to keep paying salaries, they need it for various reasons. And often there's a time horizon on that, and things haven't been working out the way they wanted. And so here they are saying, help me, help me get a quick fix to this situation. And so I have tried and done everything that I can to help in those situations. Sometimes there have been last minute wins that have happened, but here's the secret to that. They aren't sustainable. They aren't sustainable. I've had clients who've come and we've been able to, through a Herculean effort, that means a big effort, we have been able to fix the problems with the particular proposal they may be working on at the time and get it so it can be funded. Sometimes not, because sometimes things are just too far out of alignment in order for that to happen. And I'll talk about that alignment piece in a bit. But so we're able to push it over the line in some cases and get that funding. But then what I've observed is often those people will come back a few years later in the same situation. They think they really had gotten it. They think, oh yeah, okay, I've got this mastered because I had this one big win and we did this last minute big effort, this big push, and that got us the funding we needed. So now I've mastered this. But a last minute rushed push does not equal mastery. And that's the real secret. The real quick fix is that there isn't the quick fix. I know that probably sounds really silly, but the quick fix is to work on mastering this skill. The skill of writing successful proposals, but it's not only the writing, it's getting the other components in alignment. So in a grant writing class that I taught years ago, I taught this idea of the critical path to funding. And there are 4 elements to that critical path that have to be in alignment for funding to repeatably happen. Not just a one-off miracle, but repeatably, again and again and again happening. And those elements are your magic power. By magic power, I mean the things that you are really good at doing and are known for or can become known for in your research community for doing with excellence, and that you love doing too, so that it's sustainable, that it sustains you, that it inspires you, that it keeps you motivated to do those things. That's your magic powers. Aligning those magic powers with the project that you're proposing to do. Having a really strong project with a strong premise, with great rigor, and that really brings value to your research community. That other people in the community are going to see this project and say, that sounds valuable. That sounds like that's going to contribute something to our community that we think is worth having the answer to or solving the problem of, and really making sure that that project fits those kind of criteria. So you want your magic power in alignment with that project, and then you want the project in alignment with that community. So who is the community that's going to be assessing this research that you're proposing to do and supporting the research that you're proposing to do? Who are they and what do they want? Do they think that this is important and valuable, or are they not so excited about it? And so that needs to be in alignment with the project, what the community wants, in alignment with the project, and in alignment with your magic powers that you bring to it. And the final piece is actually the communication piece, the actual sitting down and writing of a proposal. The message is what I call that in the critical path, the message part of your grant proposal. And that has to be in alignment with the other pieces. And a common question that comes up for people when I say, hey, there's this message piece and there's the project piece and they're different. So the way to understand why those are two quite different things is that a project typically is going to span anywhere from a year to 5 years to 10 years, a long period of time. A lot of stuff is going to happen. Some of that is somewhat predictable. Much of it is not that predictable. And you've got this job in writing a proposal of distilling all of that down, all of your thinking about what might happen and what might not happen, down to, let's say, 12 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, whatever, some format that's very condensed, of putting all of your thought about that into this condensed little piece of writing that tells a very linear story. Real life is pretty non-linear. Real life can have random things that are unexpected that happen. And, you can't write about all of that. It would be hundreds of pages, and then it probably would be totally inaccurate too as to what actually happens, right? So the actual thing that you write is very different than the thing that's going to happen. I mean, they should, I'm not saying make, lie or do some kind of malfeasance like that. But what I'm saying is you can't predict the future, and you certainly can't write about all of the possible things that could happen or should happen. So you have to really condense it down and tell a very concise and focused story that is most likely to connect with your community and line up with your community. So that's that other piece of that. And so we have those 4 pieces of the critical path, and getting them all into alignment, doing a really good job of making sure that the message fits that community and the project fits that community, and the project and the message fit one another, and your magic power feeds into all of that to amplify your efforts. That stuff takes time. That stuff takes skills. So I'm not encouraging that you delay your next application or that you fall into some kind of perfectionism. No, that's not good. But on the flip side, expecting the quick fix, it's not going to happen. Think about any other human skill, whether it's a physical skill like let's say biking or kayaking or skiing. Those take time to master. Think about artistic skills like playing the piano or painting paintings. Those take time to master. Think about writing books. Writing good books, that takes practice and time to master. That's not something people just sort of wake up and then suddenly one day, oh, I'm going to be a great novelist. No, it takes really a lot of practice, right? So why do we think sometimes that grant writing somehow defies the truth that all other human skills have, which is that it takes time and practice and often mentoring to master that? Grant writing does not defy that. And people who try to ignore that are the people that I see struggling the most. They're the people who often need the quick fixes the most, and yet the quick fixes don't actually help them, at least not over the long haul, because they haven't really decided the true fix is mastery. The true fix is taking this skill very seriously. Now, I know most of us didn't set out in our research careers to be grant writers. That's not, I certainly didn't start out when I was a scientist, at UNC Chapel Hill. I didn't go in there thinking, yay, I'm going to be a master of grant writing. No, that wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking, yay, I get to do science. Oh, and there's this grant writing piece. But it turns out the grant writing piece is essential to supporting that science, number one. And number two, the grant writing piece can actually help you clarify your science, make your science stronger, lay out the vision of your science, and give you the chance to do that for yourself and for your colleagues. So while it may not be the goal that we set out as researchers to like write a bunch of grants and to become really good at that. It turns out it's an essential skill, not only to bring in the funding, but also to help clarify our thinking and to be able to lay out our vision. And those are all such essential things. And ultimately, even if you're struggling with grant writing there now and think it's no fun, which was certainly me at the beginning of my research career, I thought this really was terrible and was no fun. I've really shifted to a point of where it became fun. I'm no longer writing grants. I just now teach other people how to do it more effectively. But in doing it, it became more and more fun the more I mastered it, because I realized, oh, I can control so much of the equation here that I didn't previously think I could control. That comes with mastery. That takes time. So that's the core message of this video, is take your time at it. Really understand that you're not, there is no button that you can magically press on your computer and the grant funding flies out of your computer. I mean, I've often wanted such a button, but I have never discovered such a button. And I've done my very best to teach people quickly. And the big success stories that I've been a part of, helping and facilitating, are almost always the longer term, the more patient success stories, not the ones where people are seeking the quick fix. So I hope that helps you understand, maybe relax a little bit and say, yeah, this is a journey. I can do this, but it's a journey. And maybe I'll submit some things along the way because I need to keep the funding flowing. I need to keep trying, but understand that, you know, you may be at a point in the journey where your chances of success aren't that great. And so you might get some rejections, but that you can keep going. You can learn from the rejections. You can learn from the process and get better and better at it and get less rejections in the future. It might not ever go to zero, but certainly only 50% of things being rejected is much better than having 90% of your proposals rejected. All right, I'll stop there. I hope you found this helpful. This is Dr. Morgan Giddings with SciFoundry. And if you're ready for some grant writing help, you can go over to grantfoundry.com, and we have a place where you can sign up to talk to us about some of our courses and programs.